Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I extend a warm welcome to each and everyone present here, including our deputy speaker and our governor of the Western Province. Welcome. And I would like to welcome all the dignitaries who have accepted our invitation and made time to be present this evening for the launch of the research publication on enhancing livelihoods through Zakath and Sadaqa for poverty reduction in Sri Lanka. Please rise for the national anthem to start the proceedings for the day. Got it. Lanka, Namo Namo Mata Siri Badini Namo Mata Siri Badini Surangiya Kisobamana Lanka Dane Letamal Paturupi Chaya Bhumi Yalamya Hata Sapa Siddhi Sadhana Jivana E Mata Ganumana Papatya Puja Namo Namo Mata Apa Sri Lanka Namo Please be seated. Next, for Islamic religious observances, I would like to have Khanit Rusham on stage to recite a part of Quran and enlighten us with the meaning of the same ayah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ليس البر أن تولوا وجوهكم قبل المشرق والمغرب ولكن البر من آمن بالله واليوم الآخر والملائكة والكتاب والنبيين وآتى المال على حبه ذوي القربى واليتامى والمساكين وابن السبيل والسائلين وفي الرقاب وأقام الصلاة وآتى الزكاة والموفون بعهدهم إذا عاهدوا والصابرين في البأساء والضراء وحين البأس أولئك الذين صدقوا وأولئك هم المتقون. Righteousness is not that you turn your faces to the west or east, but true righteousness is in one who believes in Allah, the last day, the angels, the book, and the prophets, and gives wealth in spite of love for it to relatives, orphans, the needy, the traveler, those who ask for help, and for freeing slaves, and who establishes prayer and gives zakat, those who fulfill their promises when they promise, and those who are patient in poverty, hardship, and during battle. Those are the ones who have been true, and it is those who are the righteous. Surah Baqarah, Ayah 177.
Jazakumullah khairan, Kanit. That is basically our meeting in a nutshell. Let's start the day's proceedings. I would like to have our Joint Secretary on stage to take you through the overview of what Community Association of Professionals have done so far and to deliver the welcome address. Ma'am, stage is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Honorable Hanif Yusuf, Governor of Western Province, Honorable Rizvi Sali, Member of the Parliament and Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Munir Munawar, Member of the Parliament and Deputy Minister of Religious and Cultural Affairs, respected ulamas, Honorable Members of Parliament, Deputy Ambassador of Indonesia, well-wishers, CAP executive members and committee members, member of the research team, all distinguished invitees joining us today physically and online. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It is with great honor and profound pleasure that I extend a warm welcome all of you to Zakath Research Book Launching Ceremony organized by the Community Association of Professionals. Today's event focuses on timely and crucially important theme: enhancing livelihood through Zakath Sadaqa for poverty reduction in Sri Lanka. This theme directly engages with contemporary socio-economic challenges and explores the potential of faith-based social finance as a structured instrument for sustainable development. At the outset, allow me to briefly introduce the Community Association of Professionals. CAP represents a broad spectrum of professionals drawn from diverse disciplines, united by a shared commitment to examine contemporary practices and addressing present socio-economic and cultural issues within Sri Lanka society. CAP's works is firmly grounded in a country's socio-cultural and economic context, with the focus on evidence-based analysis and policy-relevant outcomes that contribute to social cohesion, mutual understanding, and sustainable nations' development. CAP was established in 2019 as a think tank, mandated to generate concept paper and strategic proposal on selected issues of national and community relevance, with the objective of drawing the focused attention of policymakers, practitioners, and other stakeholders. This initiative is implemented by a carefully selected professional team and guided by a council of advisors comprising senior and respected community members. This institutional structure ensures that CAP's work remains rigorous, analytically sound, and strategically impactful. First of all, we need to express our gratitude to Almighty Allah for His abundant blessing and that enable us to engage in various activities with CAP. Alhamdulillah. In this context, CAP successfully completed a research study on a contemporary madrasa education system in Sri Lanka 2020, which was presented at the Mandarina Hotel. The findings and recommendations of this study were subsequently formally handed over to relevant stakeholders, including Ministry of Education, for consideration and implementation. To date, this research continued to be recognized by the Ministry as a key reference document in the field. Subsequently, on 5th July 2024, CAP launched a research-based trilingual publication on Muslims' women's dress, published in Tamil, Sinhala, and English at this same venue. Originally authored in Tamil by Mr. Rafi Mafraz, the work was initiated during a period of heightened social sensitivity following the Easter Sunday attack. At that time, marked by widespread misunderstanding and public discourse. The publication addressed a critical academic and social need, contextualizing Muslim women's dress practices and their cultural significance. CAP undertook a rigorous review process supported by senior professionals, translated a work into Sinhala and English, and published the trilingual editions to facilitate broader national understanding and engagement. Today, on 31st January 2026, CAP has completed and inshallah is honored to formally launch this comprehensive and methodologically effective research publication entitled Enhancing Livelihood through Zakath and Sadaqa for Poverty Reduction in Sri Lanka. This study represents a significant scholarly contribution to the discourse on Islamic social finance, livelihood development, and poverty alleviation within the Sri Lankan context. I would like to note that CAP remains committed to undertaking future research initiatives that address critical issues affecting communities in Sri Lanka. At this moment, it is my distinct honor to extend to a very special and respectful welcome to our chief guest, Honorable Rizvi Sali, Member of Parliament and Deputy Speaker of Parliament. Sir, your presence here today, despite your demanding schedule, lends significant stature to this occasion. We are deeply grateful for your time and for your honoring this ceremony with your presence. I also extend a warm and respectful welcome to our guest of honor, Honorable Hanif Yusuf, Governor of the Western Province. We sincerely appreciate your acceptance of our invitation amidst your many responsibilities, and we are honored by your presence. Further, I am pleased to welcome our guest of honor, Mr. Mulif Munawar, Member of our Parliament and Deputy Minister of Religious and Cultural Affairs. Thank you for your grace in this event and for your continued engagement with issues of religious and cultural significance. I warmly welcome our review panel members. Your scholarly insights and critical review have significantly strengthened the academic quality and credibility of this publication. I also extend a cordial welcome to our distinguished invitees, including honorable politicians, academics, especially senior professors, leading of professional and community organizations, well-wishers, and all esteemed guests present here today. A special word of appreciation and welcome is extended to the research team members whose dedication, intellectual rigor, and sustained effort made the successful completion of this study possible. Last not least, I warmly welcome our CAP advisory panel members, committee members, and executive members, and all the participants who were joined with us both in person and outline via Zoom. Your engagement is essential to ensure in the wider dissemination and impactful of this research. With this remark, I humbly conclude my welcome address. Thank you. Jazakumullah khairan.
Jazakumullah khair, Professor Farina. It was very enlightening. We were able to have a full picture of what CAP has been going through. That was basically about, I would say, the tip of the iceberg, what CAP has done. It's just 3 publications what we spoke about, but in fact, CAP has done way beyond this. But in the interest of time, I think she has cut it only for 3. Anyways, thanks. Next, I would like to have our joint legal officer, Dr. Hakeem Abu Bakr on stage to give a detailed introduction to the members of the CAP.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Distinguished guests, respected scholars, community leaders, professionals, sisters and brothers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It is indeed a privilege and honor to welcome you this evening to the launch of this important publication on Zakath, which is presented by the Community Association of Professionals. Your presence here reflects a shared commitment to the faith-informed responsibility, intellectual integrity, and social justice. My role here is today to introduce the CAP team, Community Association of Professionals. Let me introduce about the organization as well. The Community Association of Professionals, widely known as CAP, is a collective of professionals drawn from diverse disciplines: law, public administration, academia, finance, security studies, technology, and social sciences, united by a common purpose called to engage thoughtfully and constructively with contemporary challenges facing our community and Sri Lankan society at large. CAP functions as a think tank and professional forum grounded in Sri Lanka's socio-cultural realities, committed to evidence-based reflection, and guided by the principle of social harmony, ethical responsibility, and peaceful coexistence. In a time when religious and cultural practices are often misunderstood or misrepresented, CAP seeks not confrontation but clarity, not reaction but reflection. The publication we launched today on Zakath exemplifies the approach treating Zakath not merely as a ritual obligation, but a structured, accountable, and social transformative institution rooted in faith and responsive to contemporary socio-economic needs. Now, allow me to introduce the distinguished professionals who guide and serve the CAP. Founder President, Ambassador SACM Zuhail. Ambassador Zuhail is a seasoned diplomat and public administrator holding BA from the University of Ceylon, MBA from the University of Sri Jawatanapura, and a postgraduate diploma in international affairs from BCIS. He has served Sri Lanka with a distinction as an ambassador, extraordinary plenipotentiary to the state of Kuwait, as well as director of planning at the University of Grants Commission. He has also held senior leadership roles as managing director of the Pharmaceutical Corporation and the State Pharmaceutical Manufacturing Corporation, contributed to the scholarship through publications, and rendered notable service to higher education as a co-founder and trustee of the Sir Ivor Jennings Endowment Fund. His leadership reflects diplomacy, scholarship, and institutional version. We warmly welcome Honorable Deputy Minister Sheikh Munir Mulafar to the forum. Thank you. Let me introduce Vice Presidents. The CAP has two Vice Presidents, Ms. Marina Mohammed. Ms. Marina Mohammed is a senior public servant of exceptional standing. She holds BA from Ministry of Kelaniya and Masters in Public Management from SLIDA, and serves as a special grade officer in the Sri Lanka Administrative Service. Mr. Mahil Dole. Mr. Mahil Dole is another Vice President of the CAP. Mahil Dole brings a deep expertise in the national security and intelligence. He holds bachelor's degree in national and international security and diploma in security studies from the Asia Pacific Center for the Security Studies in Hawaii. We have joint secretaries. Professor Farina Ruzaik. Professor Farina Ruzaik holds BA degree from Peradeniya and MSc from Sri Jawatanapura and PhD from University of Colombo. She currently serves as the head of the Department of Geography, University of Colombo, and is a member of several national bodies, including Office of National Unity and Reconciliation. Mr. Rizan Mubarak is another joint secretary. Mr. Rizan Mubarak is a senior information technology and cybersecurity professional, holds BSc from Swinburne University of Technology, Australia, and a member of a British Computer Society. Let me introduce our treasurer, Mr. Ruzam Mansoor. Ruzam Mansoor is a finance professional with an extensive portfolio of qualifications, including MBA from the University of Sutherland, CPA, ACMA, and so on. He holds a senior roles in revenue assurance and fraud management across international telecom institutions, and a co-founder of Torpedo, and so on. Let me introduce our legal officers. Mr. Isfahan Anwar is a senior lawyer with an MBA from University of Sri Jawatanapura and an active member of All Ceylon Baitul Mal Fund. His role reinforces legal compliance with governance within CAP. The joint another legal officer, Dr. M.A.M. Hakim. Hakim holds LLB from Colombo, University of Colombo, LLM from University of Malaya, Malaysia, PhD from University of Colombo. He is also an attorney at law of the Supreme Court of Sri Lanka. He serves as senior lecturer at the Public International Law of the University of Colombo and the Deputy Director of the Center for the Study of Human Rights. Public Relations Officer, M.A. Arshad Qasim. Mr. Qasim holds a postgraduate qualification in Security and Strategic Studies, Management and International Affairs, and currently serves as a Product Manager at IFS and R&D International. Let me introduce our committee members. CAP further strengthened by its eminent committee members, Professor M.A. Karim, Emeritus Professor of Physics, former UGC member, and a nationally respected scientific leader. Professor Aziz, Senior Professor in Finance and the Dean of the Faculty of Graduate Studies, University of Colombo, and the founder of DBA program. Senior Professor Fazila Jamil Hassan, a distinguished academic from the Faculty of Management and Finance, University of Colombo, with international research, leadership, and experience. Mr. Abdul Amir, Senior Lecturer in Arabic and Islamic Civilization, University of Colombo, with an advanced training in Islamic studies across Sri Lanka, Saudi Arabia, Malaysia, and he is engaging in doctoral studies in Sri Lanka. Ladies and gentlemen, before I conclude, it is important to emphasize that the community of professionals is fundamentally a research-based organization. CAP functions as a think tank committed to identifying social issues through systematic studies and to proposing scientifically grounded evidence-based solutions that can meaningfully assist the policymakers, decision makers, and community leaders. Since 2018, under the leadership of Ambassador SSCM Zoil, CAP has worked consistently in this direction, undertaking reflection, research, and analysis on matters affecting the community and wider society. While CAP deliberating small in size and resource constraints, human resource constraints, financial constraints, it's strong in expertise and depth. Its membership includes 6 academics, of whom 4 are senior professors, including 1 emeritus professor. The association further strengthened by 5 members holding doctoral qualification, 2 members with professional legal backgrounds, and 4 professionals with MBA specializing in finance and information technology. CAP also benefits from the experience of 2 senior public servants whose career reflect long-standing engagement with the governance and public administration. This carefully balanced composition allows CAP to combine academic rigor, professional practice, legal insight, and financial accountability policy experience with a single platform. Today, the publication on Zakath, what we launch, reflects this collective strength. It is not merely a religious theoretical discussion, but a research-informed contribution aimed strengthening accountability, social justice, and institutional credibility in the practice of Zakath. In that spirit, this work is offered as a constructive and responsible contribution, inviting dialogue, collaboration, and informed action for the greater good. Thank you for your patience, presence, your support, and your confidence in the work of the Community Association of Professionals. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you.
Jazakallah. Hakim Abu Bakr. He was actually asking if I forgot his name when he was walking in. I didn't. Jazakallah khair. It was quite extensive and I also got to know a few new things. Jazakallah. I think we are running a little late on time, so let's catch up. Next, we have our President's address. I would like to have Ambassador SACM Zuhail on stage to address the gathering.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Honorable Rizvi Sali, Deputy Speaker of the Parliament, Honorable Governor, Western Province, Hanif Yusuf, Governor of the Western Province, and Presidential Envoy to the the President of Sri Lanka on foreign investment, Honorable Munir Maulavi, Deputy Minister, distinguished former ambassador, former ministers, Honorable Fauzi there, and Honorable Faisal Ashraf is there, yes. Then our esteemed ambassadors, Sadiq and Zafarullah Khan, and many others, esteemed respected members of Advisory Council and members of the Community Association of Professionals. Assalamu alaikum. At the outset, I would like to announce that we have not strictly adhered to the standard protocol. I would like to open the speech with hadith of our beloved Prophet. To believers, shade on the day of resurrection will be his charity. That's some hadith worthwhile that even Karat meant that. Before I start talking about it, the moment we talk about Zakath, straight away our mind goes to how to calculate, who are the categories, how to give them, and so on. That is meant for the ulamas. Ours is beyond that. We are trying to uplift the studies, uplift the low-income Zakat recipients by way of livelihood projects. How are we going to do this? This transform into a force of permanent social change, not for just handout, but how are we going to develop them to be on their own. The research was identified some time back, the gap between the giving and the receiving. There's a big gap between we are giving them, but recipients are remaining the same standard over years and years and years. There's the olden day Chinese saying, teach one to catch fish rather than giving fish to eat. That means a lot. That is what we have been following. That's a pertinent quotation for our study. What we did was, we developed a terms of reference, we set out onto it, and we found a research team, Ms. Nuskia Hassan and her assistant Saujanya Satyaseelan, with a 5-member team, research team, and they have done a fantastic job, I'll tell you, fantastic job. You will get the copy of the book, you can read it. The methodology we adopted was, one is literature survey. In any research, literature survey is essential aspect. That means all the studies, reports, books, and all that done by other scholars are studied and brought that knowledge into our study. Another aspect is we consulted or studied the important practices adopted by other countries like Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Oman, Indonesia, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and also other countries like India, Indonesia, and South Africa. All those information were collected, compiled, and studied, considered all that for the report. Then we wanted to do the research in the field research. We can't do the whole country, so we selected 5 districts. How did we select the 5 districts? Was based on the Muslim population in the country and the poverty level in those countries, in those divisions. we found Ampare, Batticaloa, Puttalam, Kandy and Colombo for the study. Although it's 5 districts, which means 20% of the districts in the country, because there are 25 districts, 20% district. But if you look at the population, there are approximately 44% of the Muslim population in those districts. It's a very fine, large sample to study any research. Right? And then, we went and selected those 5 districts, and then we selected samples in each of those districts, about 25 samples per district. Samples were people who are receiving Zakat. Poor people who are receiving Zakat, 25 in each of those districts. And altogether 125 samples, because one district more, I think 5 more in Colombo, I think. Yeah, it was Colombo. Then we interviewed those people. Well prepared questionnaire for recipients and another questionnaire for the institution, that is Zakat giving institutions, mosques and all these, Zakat funds and all those people. We interviewed all of them. And also we interviewed various other Muslim NGOs in those areas. Then we collected all the mosques and so on. We also went and collected information from the divisional secretaries, Grama Sevakas, and all those things, collected volumes of information, and then we wrote a report, well-structured question. We wrote a report. Then we got they did a very fine report, big report, excellently written. Then we did the editorial board, edited it thoroughly, word by word, sentence by sentence. We studied the whole thing. That editorial board consisted Professor Karim, Professor Farina, Arshad, and myself. We did a thorough study, revised the report. Then we got it reviewed again by Sheikh Amit of Secretary CJU, then Professor Aziz, Dean of the Faculty of Graduate Studies in Colombo, and Dr. Ismat from University of Malaya in Malaysia. He is another researcher, very good researcher. We did all that. Then, the findings were, I'll tell you some of the findings. The successful development, livelihood development activity by Zakat is minimal. Success stories are minimal. There is a systematic organized follow-up after the disbursement of money. No systematic follow-up by Zakat money given on. No proper guidance done by all volunteers. No paid officers. Then, out of the funds, 72% of them are channels with minimum organized giving methods. 70% just in an inorganized manner, just given out. 60% of them are receiving all the times remaining the same level. But 54%, mind you, the 54% of them have said, we would like to have our own work, our own activities, and live with dignity. Live with dignity. You see, dignity is something that you can't buy for money. That is the far cry which we don't hear. We just give out the money, that's it. But then there is a major disconnect of giving and implementation of this concept. So, general perception of Zakat is obligation. I have given it, my obligation is over. Obligation is over. Yes, our responsibility is over. Once you give the Zakat, your obligation is over, given, finished. But responsibility to look after that man, how he comes up in life. Zakat, obligation and responsibility are two sides of one coin. Same thing. We have to make sure that effectively materialize. So we developed a model how to do this, very simplified model. We didn't want to have district level, provincial level organizations and so on, very simplified, two-tier model, you know. Then one is central body where there will be 5 eminent people to manage that. There will be a CEO and 2 assistants. In the field, we will have every district we have recommended, we have planned it. Every district there will be 1 officer, we'll call them, change agent. I call change agent, they are the district coordinators. They will go to these places and guide them, advise them, and get them out to do things. Now, let me ask you a question. Why a man or a woman is poor? Does he decide that he wants to be poor? Answer may be Allahu Alam. Well, he is poor because he doesn't know how to do anything. He has no knowledge, no skills, no mobility, no funds. That is why it's the condition of poverty, because he doesn't know what to do. So we go there and ask him, what can I do for you? He will tell you, I have only half a perch land or 2 perches land. What can I do? I can't do anything. That is true. In fact, it's true. It's coming. Yeah. Please come. Here comes. That is a true situation. But then we ask him, say, for example, in a village area, rural area, what if you keep beekeeping? There is a big forest there. There are a lot of bees. There are flowers. What if you start beekeeping? No, I don't know how to do that. Yes, he doesn't know. Definitely he doesn't know how to do that. Then what do is, we contact the bee training center in Bandarawala, and they give all the technology how to do beekeeping. They give a bee box, 3,000 rupees a box. So we connect him, train him, help him to get those boxes, guide him how to do beekeeping. Then what happens? Bees, 10 bottles, we'll say 10 boxes we give him, 1 harvest, 1 bottle per box. 1 harvest, 1 bottle of bee honey is 1 kilo now, is sold at 3,000 rupees at the farm gate price. So you see 10 boxes, 10 bottles, in the first harvest itself, you get your investment of 30,000 rupees. His life changes. You go to another area, say go to Nuvareli. What can you do? Same story, I don't know, I can't do, I don't know what to do. Then, what about doing some cut flowers? Cut flowers, there is a big market. All the time in Colombo, big market for flowers. Red roses now in Colombo is 400 rupees. If you can get in the farm gate price, we'll say estimated 200 rupees. How much is going to be? Even if you have 10 flowers for 20 flowers for a day, see the amount of money. You look at, say, something like ornamental fish. You need ornamental fish, small tanks, 2-3 tanks, in a small house, in a small place. There is a big demand for ornamental fish for export market. You can have mushroom, same way, big demand for all those. These are small things. You can have mat making, you can have hundreds of things you can develop by going and looking at it and look at the potentials guide them, get the know-how, and guide them to do this. It will be amazing results. In Indonesia, I was talking to a gentleman there. They said 1-2 years, the receiver becomes zakat giver. Zakat giver. 1 year, 2 years, he has become zakat giver. His life goes up. Now look at the synergy. We'll assume that beekeeping as example. So 200 people start beekeeping, then they can form association, we can form a cooperative. Then what happens? That can become a very big business. You know, Manuka honey, a small bottle, $100. You see the amount of development it can have. Same thing is true with all other activities. What we have to do is to go to the grassroots level. Different society, different environment, there are different potentials. So we had to go there, identify that, and then develop them. So when I say the we had developed, proposed, come up, the field coordinators, or I have called them change agents, and they will go, they will identify the people, give those advice and guide them how to do it. Now the $1 million question is how to do the funding. These people have to be paid, no voluntary business, but it doesn't work. They have to be paid good salary. They have to be given allowance for bike or whatever it is, and they should be given computers. There should be a central office monitoring all that. How are you going to pay them? Where is the money? So that's a big question. So in Indonesia, I asked the other day, Indonesian gentleman, Dr. Irfan, his name, he's the CEO of that place. He said out of the zakat money, they charge 12.5%, up to the 12.5% for management of this kind of costs. But we have an issue whether we can, for me of course, charge a small amount to the cost and then get 90% out of that better implementation, efficiently, effectively, and productively giving. That's much better than dumping all the money and without getting any results. If that is not acceptable, what we can do is use the Sadaqa fund to meet those costs until we sort out this debate. So that is where we can go, that we have. Then another matter I must mention, we are living in a multi-cultural, multiracial society. Say supposing there are in a locality 15 people, 15 families, I'm talking about 15 families, Muslims. Say 5 other families belong to other communities, other faith. We can use those money for the Sadaqa money for their programs, other people's programs. So now I did some calculations. Target group, we had 22+ million Muslims in the country. 2 million plus. Convert that into household, 400,000 households approximately. Out of that, poverty alleviation we have found, below poverty level is 24.5%, right? 24.5%. That works out to 114,000 families. 114,000 families. Zakat we are giving to the, livelihood project, we are targeting its families, not individuals, not father, mother separately, families. So 114,000 families with regards to, can you put this on please? With regards to the amount of money we are dumping in is not a very big exercise. We can achieve it within a few years, maximum. This should be a social transformation. Okay, thank you very much. Then, so this is an implementable plan, workable plan. We have done, you have a look at the book. We have produced that as a book. Everything is there. All your questions are answered in that. Is implementable plan. We can do it. One of the leading Zakat giving organizations in the country should take it over and implement. This can be done. We must do that. Now, this is again, you look at the United Nations Sustainable Goals, it falls in very well with the Sustainable Goals also. Particularly goal number 1, 2, and 8 is amazing to see. I'm sure UN goal people who prepared have copied it from Islamic principles, which we don't know. We are not thinking about all those. Is all exactly from mostly Islamic principles. Then nationally, with this Asfasama program and other initiatives of the government, also we are fall in line with that. So religiously we are fine, internationally we are fine, locally we are fine. It's not contradictory to any of those. So its implementation is our job now. So it is, for me, it's implementable, definitely implementable. We can do that. Now, this is a major social transformation activity, social reform activity, right? Among in the whole humanity, the greatest social transformer was none other than Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So let's follow him. Thank you. Zakatullah.
Jazakumullah khairan. That was a full detail of what we have gone through on the study for enhancing livelihood through Zakath and Sadaqa for poverty reduction in Sri Lanka. Now we would like to hear it from the mouth of the horse's mouth rather. Can we have the research team leader, Nuskia Hassan, to explain what she has done, and we would request her to go through in Tamil if possible. Jazakallah. No? Okay, it's okay.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Honorable Chief Guest, Guest of the Honor, distinguished guest, respected Islamic scholars, and the office bearers of Community Association of Professionals, and dear ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, I thank Almighty Allah, the most merciful and the most compassionate, for granting us the knowledge, strength, and guidance to undertake and complete this wonderful research work. We sincerely pray that Allah accept this effort as an act of ibadah and the service to the humanity. And I would also like to express my deep gratitude to the Community Association of Professionals for initiating, supporting, and financing the important national level research. And also, I'm especially thanks to the President and the Executive Committee and the editorial board and all the respected reviewers for their guidance and the encouragements and their valuable scholarly input throughout this journey. And also, in this stage, I would also like to acknowledge the supports from our research team, especially our research assistant, Ms. Saujanya Satyaseelan, and all the field assistants who contributed meaningfully to the complete of this work. I'm Nuskia Hassan, the research team leader of this project, and it's truly honor to present our research study on enhancing livelihood through Zakath and Sadaqa for poverty reduction in Sri Lanka. Before begin my presentation, I would like to reflect on the verses from the Holy Quran that beautifully capture the spirits and the purpose of this today research. It's from Surah Al-Baqarah, Ayah 273. You can see here, these verses mention charity is for the poor who have been restricted for the cause of Allah, unable to move about the land. An ignorant person would think them self-sufficient because of their restraints, but you will know them by their characteristic signs, and they do not ask the people persistently or at all, and whatever you spend of good indeed, Allah is knowing of it. Actually, if we reflect these verses carefully, these verses does not only encouraging the giving, it's defining the ethics of giving. Especially, it's defining the sincerity of giving, constancy of giving, and the social responsibility. With that note, as we all know, here I can explain to you why this study is a matter.
Extremely sorry for the interruption. Governor has an urgent call to leave, so we would like him to address us before he leaves. Can we have you on stage, please?
Thank you. I really beg your pardon. Today is the Perahara at the Gangaramaya temple, and the Prime Minister is also coming. I have to be there. It's part of my job as a governor of the province. And I sincerely apologize, Mr. Zuhair. But our chief guest this afternoon, Deputy Speaker and my friend, Rizvi Sali, my friend, the Deputy Minister, Munil Mulafa, and all my friends around here, everybody that I know, I'd like to express my gratitude, not for the invitation, but for the hard work that CAP has put in to do what it is. I look forward in looking at the presentation, Madam, after I leave and when I get back. But pardon me again, but a certain few things I thought I would address. First of all, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm privileged to be here with you today. This gathering speaks not just to the generosity of spirit within our community, but to our shared commitment and to social justice and sustainable development. I again thank you for inviting me. to reflect on the critical role of Zakath and Sadaqa in addressing poverty in Sri Lanka, and to highlight why Zakath and Sadaqa are not just acts of piety, but powerful instruments of social transformation. I see my friends like Adil here, my friend Mr. Ilyas Admani, who runs the Baitul Mal, and I see a lot of work being done. But as an individual, I must also have been voicing this all the time as well, and I've been voicing it to you and to many others. What's the real impact we have seen in our community? You know, we are great Zakat givers, and I saw 70% is in unstructured form. So our community is getting, sometimes, I may be completely wrong, poorer by poorer, asking and asking, and how do we transform this? I know we had a meeting before that with Riaz Mira was doing a program on that, and I look forward to it, but let me continue. That was, again, what I felt. In Islam, you know, wealth is not seen as a possession, but a trust. Zakat is one of the 5 pillars of our faith, as therefore is not a charitable option. It is an obligation, a divine duty that links our personal prosperity to the well-being of the society around us. Sadaqa, or voluntary charity, extends further. It nurtures a spirit of generosity, empathy, and solidarity. But you know, the deeper purpose behind this act is often overlooked. Zakat and Sadaqa are not meant to simply ease our guilt or temporary relieve suffering. They are designed to purify both wealth and our souls. They are means of empowerment, lifting people from dependency to dignity, from survival to self-reliance. My brothers and sisters, we are at a turning point. Our traditional methods of giving, however well-intentioned, are no longer enough. In a world that is shaped by structural poverty, rising inflation, and repeated shocks every time when we get up, we must now move beyond ad hoc relief and evolve ourselves to models of giving that restore dignity, build livelihoods, and create lasting impact. We have a duty to rethink how Zakat and Sadaqa are mobilized, how we can ensure that each rupee that we give uplifts not just a family for a day, but a community for a generation. How can we transform charity into capital that seeds micro enterprises, builds skills, supports education, and provides tools for long-term income? Our system of giving has remained static for too long. They must now grow into wisdom, and as our society grows into complexity. The tradition of simply distributing cash during Ramadan or year-end has served its time. It has brought comfort, yes, but not always change. It addressed symptoms, but rarely the roots. If we are to make Zakat and Sadaqa meaningful today, we must design them not for temporary relief, but pathways out of poverty, so that its beneficiaries may stand tall with self-worth and purpose. When we began this program, the Qari read out the Quran ayah, but I think it's worthwhile to repeat that, where the Quran tells us in Surah Baqarah that righteousness is not in turning your faces towards the east or the west. True righteousness is in believing in Allah and giving wealth despite love for it to relatives, orphans, the needed traveler, those who ask, and for freeing slaves. This verse does not limit kindness to one group. It commands giving to all in need, the orphan, the stranger, the traveler, regardless of background. That is the spirit of Islam that the Prophet ﷺ lived by. It is this openness that brought people together under his leadership. It is this generosity that we must reclaim today. Our own history tells that this is possible. Sri Lanka has always nurtured a spirit of giving rooted in the traditions of beliefs of our diverse communities. The monks, the awliyas, the traders, and the scholars have always upheld the values of compassion and justice across our island, reminding us that faith is not ritual alone, but a responsibility. It is service. I want us to honor this legacy, not just by simply preserving it, by deepening its relevance, by allowing our traditions fit today's needs. I want to ensure that no family is left behind because system failed to reach them, that no young person remain unemployed because we gave aid but did not give opportunity. I'm deeply encouraged by the research and recommendations of the CAP report. I look forward in reading that in deep at the next closest opportunity. It outlines a practical framework, I'm told, for turning our religious obligation to results at last. It links charitable giving with livelihood development, social mobility, and a national recovery. This is a paradigm shift, and a much needed one. I was pleased to see that the report proposes a livelihood enhancement framework, which I did not have the patience to wait due to other commitments, that recognizes that generosity alone is not enough, I agree. We need systems, we need coordination, we need transparency and accountability, and above all, we need the courage to build a giving culture that is inclusive, structured, and designed for impact. As a former businessman and now governor of this province and also the President's Special Envoy for Foreign Investment, I see that every day our economic opportunity can change lives. I also see the gaps. The people are still left out, voices unheard, families unseen. Charity must fill those gaps, not with pity but with partnership. Let this be our goal, that no child goes hungry because we failed to plan, that no woman is left behind because our systems didn't see her, that no village remains neglected because we refuse to think beyond tradition. May Allah bless all of you for your efforts. May accept our intentions and guide us to always give, not for praise, but for purpose. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much, Governor, making time within your very busy schedule. We understand you are very busy and you need to leave very soon. Before the Governor leaves, we would like to launch the book, and I would like to have our President, SSCM Zuhair, and Joint Legal Advisor, Isfahani Anwar, to hand over the first copy to the Governor, then followed by, due to the urgency, very sorry to cut on the protocol, and then to our Deputy Speaker and to Deputy Minister. Can we have Dr. Rizvi Sali on stage to accept the copy? Can you have our guest of honor, Sheikh Munir Mulafar, to accept the first copy? Thank you very much, gentlemen. Let's continue with the proceedings. I'm very sorry, Nusku, I had to cut you off.
Thank you.
Our research team leader will continue with her speech. Once again, apologies for the inconvenience.
Without further delay, sorry for the inconvenience. Without further delay, I just move on to my second slide because it is one of the core component I need to explain in this stage. Actually, the national poverty context, relevant details we have added here, because most of the details that explained by our Mr. President Suhail sir, so I think I don't want to go through again with this part, but here we need to understand the agency of why we need to consider this concept in the national level. As we all know, according to the Department of Census and Statistics, and the official poverty line, it's dramatically increased that we can see here from rupees 5,223 in 2012 to rupees 6,966 in 2019, and in 2023 it has the report into January, but in December the official poverty amount, it indicated as rupees 16,413 per person per month by September 2025. This means the cost of basic survival has more than tripled within a decades. Not few decades, it's 1 decade. Furthermore, the poverty headcount ratio also increased nearly 25% in 2022. As it is confirmed, the Department of Census by Department of Census and Statistics and also the World Bank. And the recent data we have gathered from the same department, the population of Muslim ratio, it indicated as 9.7. It's nearly, we reached 10%. So this is the major thing we have to focus on, the economical situation of Sri Lanka and the people, even though our Muslim community. And also see here, in these slides, especially in Sri Lanka, Zakath and Sadaqa, we are widely practicing, but we managed fragmented and informal manner. Because several institutions and NGO, even though so many individuals are practicing on that, but it is informally practiced. With that, we have facing several issues. Even the beneficiaries also indicate so many problems, because when they are receiving the benefits from the donors or any kind of individuals or institutions, they cannot be target their purpose. Even they couldn't able to achieve the economical development in their lives. So based on that problem, we move to the research objective that also already explained by Mr. President Suhail sir. So I just move on to the next slide. This is the methodology. Our President Mr. Suhail sir already mentioned this point. Our research is contained as a scientific background, especially when we focus on the research design. It is the mixed method research design. It contains the qualitative and quantitative insight that you can see through the handbook that you have received. And also, when we see the data collections, we have collected so many data from the primary and secondary. So especially when we focus the secondary data collections, we have reviewed several secondary data, literature based from the scholarly article and so many reports, and also the conducted beneficiary survey and the institutional survey and the key informal interview that you can see here. How we can calculate the sampling and how we have selected our sample population. And this is the desk review. I don't want to explain this matter deeply because you're already tired. So that's the thing. I just mentioned some few things. What we have done in the literature review is the deepest scientific background, and it have the separate chapter in your handbook. So based on that, our desk review done based on these selected themes. So based on that information we have collected and gathered as a systematic manner. And then this is the some statistical insight that we have included in our book. This is the social demographic profile of the respondents and also the types of beneficiaries we have identified and the educational level of the beneficiaries. So detailed explanation that you can find in the hard copies. And here are also the same. The primary source of income we have evaluated, and the same time the government welfare beneficiaries here, the 60% of the people, they are considered as the government welfare beneficiaries. At the same time, they are considered as the Zakath beneficiaries group. And here the beneficiaries' income and expenditure, when we focus on that, the most of the people mention, most of the beneficiaries mention that their expenditure level higher than their income. So this is also the major challenge that we have retrieved from. And the figure 6 that indicated the welfare receiving duration. In this point, I need to mention two major aspects. The first thing is, we can see the 49% of the people, they receiving the Zakath and Sadaqa funds only 1 or 2 times. It's less than 2 years. And then only 16% of the people receiving their beneficiaries more than 5 years. It's indicated that more than 5 years, they are still in a poverty line. And also, there is another figures that mentioning the usage of Zakath fund that we can see through that figure. And here the challenges using the Zakath and Sadaqa funds for the livelihood improvements. This is the some key points that mentioned by the beneficiaries. The most of the beneficial, nearly 52% of the beneficiaries, they mentioned that insufficient fund. And also they only receiving one-time beneficiaries from the institutions, even some of the individuals. So this is the major challenge that we can see from this finding. And additionally, these are some preferred support they are expecting from the proper system if we are implementing in Sri Lanka, and also some livelihood preference that they are expecting throughout. And this is the map we have prepared. I already mentioned we have selected only 5 major districts based on the population and the head count, the poverty head count index. Based on that, we have selected some, we have identified some livelihood potentials in the selected regions that we have mapped here. And these are the some informations related to the institutional data. So here the institution also mentions so many challenges to overcome the issues, to implement the formal system to get the better impactful output through these kind of beneficiaries. And the most of the institution, the 81% of the institution, they are still independently working. Like we have visited to so many institutions and we have discussed with them. They also mentioned that we are independently working. Like Baitul Mal and so many institutions, they are working independently. They are meeting the, meet the donors and the beneficiaries. They are involvement. And this is also some of the measures implemented and prevent us misuse. In some particular institution, it's nearly less than 5% of the institution, they mentioned some misconduct that happened. For that, we have identified some of the measures to overcome those kind of preventance of the misuse. So those kind of things we have listed here. And additionally, some of the suggested improvement to maintain the effective Zakath and Sadaqa fund management that we have listed there. And the global best practices that is also mentioned by Mr. Suhail sir. So we have identified several models in the global level that is in practice, like the Malaysia, Indonesia, Saudi Arabia, United Arab, Qatar, Oman, Singapore, those are the countries still following the same, the proper Zakath and Sadaqa management system to reduce the poverty in their region. So these are the some models that we have gone through. And this is the model that already explained by Mr. Suhail sir, how we can, this is the model we are proposing, and based on this aspect, we can get our sustainable livelihood development output to reduce the poverty in Sri Lanka with the help of Zakath and Sadaqa beneficiaries. I think I don't want to clearly explain this. Yes, and based on that, we are proposing the institutional arrangement. This institutional arrangement, it has the two major tier system. First thing is National Zakath and Sadaqa institutional framework, and then the second tiers, it mentioned the district level Zakath and Sadaqa coordination body. If we implement this kind of system in Sri Lanka, we can properly manage our system. If we implement this kind of system, we can get some kind of impact and measurable outcomes in the three major stages. First thing is beneficials at the beneficial level, and second thing is institutional level, and the community and national level. From the beneficiary level, what we can expect if we implement these models properly, it reduces the long-term dependency on dignity. It is a major expectations from the beneficiaries. And then the increased household income and economic stability, that also one kind of impact, measurable impact that they are expecting. And restore dignity through the self-resilience. So these all the aspects that we can get from the beneficiary level. And second thing is, in the institutional level, the improve transparency and accountability, it's a major thing. When we discuss with most of the institutions, they mention to maintain the transparency and accountability, it is difficult thing. So that's the thing. If you are implementing that kind of proper system in the national level, we can definitely get that kind of aspect. And then they strengthen the donor confidence and they enable to better coordination among the Zakath institutions, mosques, and the NGOs. And the final thing is community and the national level. At the community and national level, they contribute directly to the poverty reduction. It will be helpful for that. And the support employment creations. And although in the Islamic social framework with the national development goals, it definitely helpful for the sustainable development goal that already mentioned, that sustainable development goal 1, 2, and 8. Finally, I just conclude my presentation with this small thought. Zakath is not only about giving, it is about transforming life. Thank you very much for the listening and patience.
Jazakallah khair, Muskia. Next, we would like to call upon our Deputy Minister of Religious Affairs and Religious and Cultural Affairs, Sheikh Munir Munafar, to address the gathering.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Assalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil mursaleen. Amma ba'd. නියෝජ්‍ය කතානායක වෛද්‍ය රිස්විසාලි මැතිවරණි. ඒ වගේම මේ අවස්ථාවට සහභාගී වී සිටින සියලුම සම්භාවනීය අමුත්තනි. මම ඉතා කෙටියෙන් මගේ අදහස් දැක්වීම අවසන් කරන්නම්. මම හිතන්නේ අපි හැම කෙනාටම දැනෙන දෙයක් තමයි ජාතියක් ලෙසත් සමාජයක් ලෙසත් දුප්පත්කම අපේ රටෙන් තුරන් විය යුතුයි කියන එක. විශේෂයෙන් ඉස්ලාම් ධර්මය ගත්තම නබි සල්ලල්ලාහු අලයිහි වසල්ලම් තුමාණන්ට අවසාන වශයෙන් මේ ධර්මයේ ලැබෙන විටත් සමාජ පරිවර්තනයක් යනු ආධ්‍යාත්මික විතරක් නොවේ ආර්ථික වශයෙන්ුත් ඒ පරිවර්තනයේ සිද්ධ වුණා නම් පමණයි සාමයෙන් සතුටෙන් අපි හැම කෙනාටම ජීවත් වෙන්න පුළුවන් කියන එක. මම පුංචි කාලේ සකාත් සම්බන්ධව අත්දිච්ච එක දෙයක් මතක් කරන්නම්. අපේ ජනාධිපතිතුමත් ඉන්නවා. වැලිගම අපි කුඩා කාලේ තාම මට මතකයි. සකාත් ලෙස බොහෝ දුරට රාමදාන් මාසයේ 27 වෙනිදාට ගමේ ඉන්න හැම කෙනාටම ආරාධනා කරලා සල්ලි බෙදලා දෙනවා. මම හිතන්නේ සකාත් එක ලබා දෙන කෙනාටත් අයි Taman මේ සකාත් එක ලබා දෙන්නේ කියන එකත් සමහර විට සකාත් එක ලබා ගන්න කෙනත් ඒ ගැන අවබෝධයක් නොතිබුණු සමාජයක්. නිසා මම හිතන්නේ මේ පරිේශන හරහා ඔබ උත්සාහ කරන්නේ ඒ తත්වය වෙනස් කරලා මේ සකාත් ඊ타ත්ම සුදුසු නිවැරදි දිශානියතියකට යොමු කරන්න. මම හිතන්නේ මේ හරහා රටේ දුප්පත් කම දුරලීම සඳහාත් විශාල දායකත්වයක් ලබා දෙන වග මට විශ්වාසයක් තිබෙනවා. හැබැයි තවත් දෙයක් මම කියන්න කැමතියි. විශේෂයෙන් මේ මොහොතේ මම ආගමික සහ සංස්කෘතික අංශයේ භාර නියෝජ්‍ය ඇමතිවරයා ලෙස මට කියන්න කනගාටුයි. මට හරි අමාරුයි ගැටුම් නැති එහෙම නැත්නම් දායක සභාවන් සඳහා ට්‍රස්ටි බෝඩ් වලට ප්‍රශ්න නැති පල්ලියක් හොයාගන්න බැරි තරමකටපත් වෙලා තිබෙනවා. මම හිතන්නේ අපි මේක ඉම්ප්ලිමන්ට් කරන්න යන්නේ සමාජයක නම් ඒ සමාජයේ විශේෂයෙන් මම මෙතන ඉන්නවා වෘත්තිකයන් ඉල්ලීමක් කරනවා. විශේෂයෙන් අපි හැම කෙනාම එකතු වෙලා අපේ පල්ලිවල දායක සභාවලට සුදුසු ඒ වගේම දිගු කාලයක් හිතන්න පුළුවන් පිරිසක්පත් වුණා නම් අද අප අත්විඳින විශාල ප්‍රශ්න අපට निराකරණය කරගන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ නිසා ඇත්තටම අපි නැවත නැවත කල්පනා කරන්න ඕන දෙයක්. අපි සමාජයට වෙන එක්කනට චෝදනා කරනවට වඩා ගමක නායකත්වයේ හෙබවන්නේ කවුද? ඔවුන්ට පුළුවන් සකාත් කාගෙන් අරගෙන කොතනද ඔක යොදවන්න ඕන කියන හොඳ අපට ඔවුන්ව දැනුවත් කරන්නත් පුළුවන් මේ වගේ කාරණාව නිසා. ඉතින් ඇත්තටම කනගාටුයි. මම ජීවත් වෙන එක්තරා ප්‍රදේශයක මුලින් සකාතේ එකතු කරන කණ්ඩායමක් හිටියා. දැන් ඒක කණ්ඩායම් දෙකක් බවට පත් වෙලා තිබෙනවා. ඒ ජමාත් අනුව බෙදිලා. මම හිතන්නේ ඒ තත්ත්වය වෙනස් වෙන්න ඕන. මේ වගේ මේ ප්‍රායෝගික අභියෝග රාශියක් තිබෙනවා. අපි ඒවට විසඳුම් අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම ඉක්මනින් සෙවිය යුතුයි. විශේෂයෙන් මම හිතන්නේ අපට වකීමක් තිබෙනවා. මේ නායකත්වයට මම හිතන්නේ පල්ලිවල දායක සභාව කියන්නේ නීති හදන තැනක් නෙවෙයි. ගමේ අඩුපාඩු, ගම පාලනය කරන, ගම කල්පනාකරණය කරන අර්බුද මොකක්ද කියලා තේරුම් අරගෙන වැඩ කරන තැනක් තමයි මම හිතන්නේ. ඒක අද වෙනකොට ඒක සිද්ධ වෙනවාද කියන එක විශාල ප්‍රශ්නාර්ථයක්. අවසාන වශයෙන් විශේෂයෙන් මම නියෝජනය කරන ගම්පහ දිස්ත්‍රික්කය අපට පාසලක අලුත් ගොඩනැගිල්ලක් හදන්න ඉඩක් නැති පාසල් තමයි මුළු දිස්ත්‍රික්කයේ පුරාම තිබෙන්නේ. අපි කොතනින්ද මේක පටන් ගන්න ඕන කියන එක අපට විශාල ප්‍රශ්නාර්ථයක්. ඒ නිසා මේ වෑයමට මම ස්තුතිවන්ත වෙනවා හැම කෙනාටම. ඒ සඳහා තමන්ගේ දායකත්වය ලබා දීලා රට පුරා ගිහිල්ලා මේක සොයා බලලා මේක ක්‍රමවත් විදිහට මේක වෙන්න ඕන කියලා ඒ වෙනුවෙන් කටයුතු කරපු සියලු දෙනාට මගේ සුබපතුන් එකතු කරමින් ඔබේ ආරාධනාවට ස්තුතිවන්ත වෙමින් මම නතර වෙනවා. අස්සලාමු අලයිකුම් වරහමතුල්ලාහි වබරකාතුහු.
Jazakallah Sheikh Munir Mulafar. That was bringing us all to reality. That's the ground reality, sadly. We have to overcome that. Next, can we have our chief guest, Dr. Rizvi Sali, Deputy Speaker of the Sri Lankan Parliament, to address the gathering.
Thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Nahmadu wa nusalli ala Rasulil Kareem. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to everybody. Mr. Mohammed Zohair, President, and the members of the Committee of the Community Association of Professionals,
where many of them living, ex-minister Honorable Fauzi left, honorable ex-members of parliament, distinguished respected religious leaders, honorable policymakers and public officials, esteemed members of the business and professional community, ladies and gentlemen. I'm truly honored to be able to speak a few words at the launch of this timely, thoughtful and much needed research initiative by the Community Association of Professionals. I congratulate the authors for this publication. I saw how much hard work they have undergone here. This work not only represents an academic rigor, but a moral clarity and a social responsibility towards the community. This is not an ordinary book launch. It is something more than that. It is an unveiling of an idea whose time is right and whose time has come. I stand before you bearing three responsibilities. First, as a medical doctor for the last 39 plus years, witnessing illness not only as a pathological condition, but one that has social etiology and outcome, often rooted in poverty, insecurity, and lack of opportunity. Second, as a Muslim, belonging to a faith that treats compassion as an obligation and justice as a foundation of social order, not merely a personal virtue. Third, as a member of parliament, as the deputy speaker of parliament, entrusted with helping shape policies and institutions that must serve all Sri Lankans alike, with dignity, with fairness and foresight. This research, actually, looking at your work, it calls powerfully to all these three callings. As a doctor, I have seen how poverty manifests quietly in untreated illness, in undernutrition and malnutrition, school dropouts. I have seen for myself the number of school children who drop off from school because their parents cannot avoid. This happens right in Colombo. When children come to me, I don't miss asking them, the parents, which school does they go? A lot of parents kept telling me very lately that I don't send my girl children to school because, doctor, we can't afford it. ஆம்புள்ள புள்ளல மட்டும் அனுப்புகிறேன், அவங்க படிச்சுக்கிட்டு ஏதாவது செய்வாங்க, எங்களை பார்த்து கொள்வாங்க, இந்த பொண்டுகளை வீட்டில் தான் இருக்க போகிறாங்க. They are going to stay at home, so we don't send them to school and we cannot afford it. Then the mental stress. Don't take me wrong, 70% of the patients I see are not ill. They are mentally stressed. 70%. And it went to come to the female patient, it's 90%. 90% of the female patients I see, I have no pathological illness. They are stressed. They do not get any respect at home. So I think there's a lot to be done before we go into a lot of detailed work like this. Then the amount of substance addiction. Again, poverty is a root cause. I even had a patient who came to me in her second pregnancy with her child, 6-year-old child, comes and sits, the mother comes, sits next to me. When I'm taking her notes down about her previous pregnancy, she asked me, ice doctor. I got it wrong. I thought she's talking about ice water. I said, then I thought, no, cannot be. Then I looked at her. Ice and ice is it? Illa doctor on the ice and under Kirun in the Kaval, 3 months pregnant. That is where our community has dropped. I asked, whom do you take it with? Do you take it with your husband? I thought that they are having it for some extra fun. Illa doctor, friends so dedicate. Next question, obviously, it come to your mind. Ambula friends are pondu friends are rendu mirikiranga. And I know that they come from a very poverty-stricken area of Colombo. Today, a lot of you will be surprised of the number of members of our community who are dealing. Ask them, what job do you do? No, nothing. Where do you get the money for this? Dealing, Tane doctor. You know what dealing is? They sell to others to get the money to sustain their habit. So that man doesn't bother whether he sells it to a child or a pregnant woman or whoever. He wants the money to satisfy his craving. This is where it has dropped. So all this, behind all this, poverty is a major cause. And the whole generational despair. As a policy maker, I recognize that even the most committed governments cannot address this alone. No way. Sustainable solutions in order to tackle this required partnerships that transcends institutions and resources that flow efficiently to where it is most. Zakath and Sadaqa were never meant to be acts of charity alone. They were designed as instruments of economic balance and social stability. One timeless saying of the Prophet ﷺ is, charity does not decrease wealth. This is not only a spiritual truth, it is an economic one too. It tells us that when wealth circulated with purpose strengthens societies rather than diminishes them. Another foundational principle of Islamic ethics reminds us that charity must uplift, not entrench dependence. It must restore dignity, not merely provide relief. In our giving, if our giving feeds a family, you have eased the hunger in them. But is that sufficient on the long run? We had to think of restoring skills as the Community Association of Professionals has undertaken, restore skills, livelihoods, and confidence. If we have restored hope, hope is the most powerful developmental currency of all. We spoke of not entrenching dependence, restoring dignity, providing hope. These are the most difficult things. We talk so much about data collection, the amount of hardships you all undergo and travel all over Sri Lanka, but look at your backyards. Look at your backyards. My parents are from Gaul. I still have a few relatives there. Whenever I go to Gaul, it's a beautiful environment, lot of trees, lot of greenery. In order to stretch myself, I get out of the car, go around. An old auntie appears from nowhere, comes and tells me, Angala Povanam Mavan, and the Tenga Bulu Magina Maratilla, Ipa Tenga Pikiratikam Yarumille, Tenga Pichamangal, the Mavanel, and Edinkal Samurtukut, Avanga Officica Poranga Velek. Tenga Pikiramalda Mavan, Nedinkal Samurtu to Officica Pora, our custom. Our Mavan Officica Pora, Lesia, Adambarayat. So where are we going to change that mindset? Is your research, your methodology, whatever, have you allocated anything to change the mindset of these people? I actually told one lady, I lost my cool. Ungada mauni shellanga, avada nedunkalsata kalatti vechi marathil eri pikka chelli. See where we stand. We have to change that mindset. Even we as a party have a beautiful manifesto, but if the people are not changing, how can we implement that? That is where we are stuck today. And also, I'd like to mention you, take this message. In our homes, there are people who help us, help the elders at home, help our children, and we wrongly call them servants. Do you all know that there are generations of which they have been servants? There are generations. They are servants because their mothers were servants, and their mothers were servants because their grandmothers were servants. Where are we going to change this? It's a very sad situation. I'm telling you, there is no dignity in being a servant. But our people, shame to say, they want that to continue, so that their children will have their children as their servants. One day, 3 sisters came to my house. I had somebody helping my wife. She comes for a few hours a day. They saw her. They said, oh, they're telling each other, oh, this lady who used to work at our Umama's house, her daughter, you remember she was a young girl, and we used to send her to buy the papers, and you send her to buy some chocolates and all once in a way to the boutique. Isn't it her? They're so thrilled about it, that their Umama's servant's daughter is still a servant. Where are we heading? Where are we heading? Where is this community heading? I truly lost my cool that day. Some of my wife's friends, they were. I said, look here. This lady had a son and a daughter. She has a son and a daughter, and they are never going to be anybody's servant. We spend so much of money on our own children, millions trying to educate them. Give a little of that, a small percentage. Single-digit percentage, give it to them, educate their children also. So that they also have a future. I said, this lady has a son and a daughter. They are not going to be anybody's servant. And yes, both of them are doing very well in life today. They even have vehicles for themselves. So that's where the change should begin. This book, I read the synopsis of it. It courageously asks the question, why, despite the annual flow of millions of rupees through Zakath and Sadaqa, do so many families remain dependent year after year, generation after generation? So, in a nutshell, this is exactly what I told you now. These are examples, living ground reality of what I told you. The answer is presented here is not accusatory. It is evidence-based. Generosity is abundant, but systems are fragmented. Intentions are sincere, but impact is rarely measured. Funds are distributed, but pathways out of poverty are often absent. What the Community Association of Professionals proposes is not a rejection of tradition. It is a fulfillment of tradition through structure, through accountability and modern tools. Just like we do not treat patients on goodwill alone, we diagnose, we monitor, we review, and we follow up. The same framework applies, I noticed, the same framework applies to this ethical discipline, to Islamic finance and Zakath and Sadaqa. Actually, people do not want dependency. They want participation. When we align our charitable systems with this truth, we respect not only religious obligations, but human aspirations. Let me conclude with one reflection that transcends religion, faiths, and professions. A society is not judged by the generosity of its intentions, but by the effectiveness of its compassion. This is the fundamental, foundational principle of ethical, social, and political philosophy. This gives the framework to convert goodwill into charity, that charity into capability, and faith into a national strength and research that is complete. Listening to the presentation here and also to Mr. Zohair, I recognize this as a justice-based charity, often referred to as social change philanthropy, that reshapes the future of our society by shifting focus from merely alleviating the symptoms of poverty to addressing and dismantling the root causes of systemic inequality. While traditional charity provides temporary relief by way of food, clothing, and shelter, justice-based charity seeks long-term, structural, and political change to create an equitable society. The publication is out, the framework is ready, the opportunity is historic. What remains is collective courage, courage to reform systems, to measure the impact, and to believe that justice-based charity can reshape our future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. It was very much enlightening and you really covered a lot of ground for us. We've come to an end of today's gathering. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Dr. Rizvi Sali, Deputy Speaker of the Sri Lankan Parliament, Honorable Hanif Yusuf, Governor of the Western Province, Sheikh Munir Mulafar, Deputy Minister of Religious and Cultural Affairs, for making time within their very busy schedules today and almost to be fully present in the whole function. And I would like to thank our distinguished guests and invitees. Without you, which the event would have been a real failure. Thank you very much. And a huge thank you for Lakshman Kadigam Institute for providing us the auditorium. And I would like to really thank our research team, Nuskia Hassan and Saujanya Satyanathan, for their hard work. They've done excellent work. Thank you very much. Neptune Printers for timely and quality work. It's something we feel like reading. They've done a good job. And I would like to thank Knowledge Box and the rest of the media team who has been covering the whole event live on Facebook as well as YouTube. And a big thanks goes to our able secretary, Sharufa Sanoon, who fully coordinated this event, sending the invitations and even following up with you all. Probably she called you multiple times. Thank you very much. And I would like to thank Kanit Rusham for his beautiful recitation, volunteers for their selfless assistance today, and last but not least, our CAP team, including Ambassador Zuhail, the President of CAP, the members, and their spouses for being present and being supportful for this endeavor. Thank you very much, everyone. That brings us to the end of this event for this evening. Prayer arrangement has been made up here for gents, and ladies could pray here. Washrooms are here if you want to take wudu, and refreshments are served just outside. We all invite you to have your refreshments before leaving. Thank you very much once again. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.